The government and the central bank wants to get people to borrow. Interest rates are at record lows. The government just last week rolled back responsible lending laws. They want people to borrow. But it's confidence. People don't have confidence. Would you go out there and borrow a lot of debt if you didn't have the confidence that you could pay it back? I think this would really give people some sort of assurance that even if they don't manage to get to that level, they're not going to have this hanging over their heads for the rest of their lives.
As Bruce said, one heck of an idea. Nothing says security like a roof over your head. And the first question many of us ponder when times get tough is, can I keep the family home? Across Australia, buyers and sellers are now asking if the real estate market is truly as safe as houses or just a house of cards.
The biggest question I get asked is when to buy and when to sell. If you're looking to sell, now's probably the time to get out of this market, because I can't see our markets improving. I can't see growth over the next couple of years.
Robert Klaric, the property expert. There really is now a market that we've got the good, the bad and the ugly. There's some parts of the market that are still strong, what I call recession-proof suburbs. Those are the choice areas where everybody sort of wants to live.
The bad is what I've seen in the market at the moment, where these vertical suburbs where we've got apartment after apartment, they won't have buyers for them. I think there's a correction in our marketplace of probably at least between 10 and 20%.
As you can see, all these ones that have been built and, through here, a lot of them are vacant. You know, half of that block here is vacant.
And then we've got the ugly, which is likely to be happening by early next year.
As soon as the JobKeeper and JobSeeker is finished, well, we're going to have a real tsunami effect in our marketplace where I think it's going to get really, really belted. And unfortunately, it's the lower income families that have purchased homes. They're going to struggle. If you haven't got a job, you can't pay your mortgage. If you can't pay your mortgage, you'll have to sell the house that you're in. So the pressures of maintaining a home is going to be greater than we've ever seen it in Australia.
And Robert Klaric joins us on the panel now. Robert, thanks for joining us. What is somebody who's in the situation now, they're thinking, can I keep the home? Do I stretch myself to pay the mortgage, to cling on to it, give up other things, or do I just sell? What's the advice?
Well, 2 out of every 3 calls I'm getting from clients is that question. What do I do, Rob? And it's the fear that it's crippling people. The fear of, do I now sell and get out of this market because potentially it can adjust? And I don't want to be an alarmist. And the reality is that we're not going to get a crash, but we're going to get a correction. And there's going to be an adjustment to our market. You would have to be reading golden books to realise that there's not a correction at some point over the next 12 months. As of March, JobKeeper, JobSeeker, most of the local cafes, restaurants that I go to, they can't sustain. A lot of my clients are looking at wanting to maintain their business, but they're not going to be able to maintain their business and generate income. So if you can't generate income, or you don't have a steady job, and your mortgage, and Sydney mortgages, I mean, they are, as we just saw, it's crippling.
But isn't the point, Rob, too, that interest rates have never been lower than this? So people are taking a lot of debt. Money's cheap for now. What happens when interest rates start to rise, whenever they do?
That's a very long way off.
Mind you, people always forget that, you know, we've lived that generation where I paid 17%. So look, it doesn't have to go to that level. It only has to go to 3%, 4%, 5%, 6%.
That's when things.
And that's when things are really going to unravel. So it's the size of the mortgage now. It's not the size of the interest rate that's critical for a lot of people.
And the point, the family home is a long-term investment. It's a trend line. There's going to be ups and downs. This is a down. We've had a long ride up though. So maybe we ride it out.
And we've seen such a variation in the major capitals like Sydney and Melbourne. The choice areas at the moment, we've got boom-like conditions happening on the weekends at auctions. But on the flip side, you look at the vertical suburbs when you drive through Sydney and Melbourne, and I call the vertical suburb, only you've got to go out to the airport to realise and have a look at these buildings.
Those apartment buildings, and a lot of for sale signs there.
You've also got to understand that most small businesses
you know, their business loan is secured against their home.
That's right,
that's right.
So if their business goes, their home will
their
go
home
too.
goes as
Yeah,
well.
and that's where I see this. People were quoting me in the media. Yes, we're going to have a bit of a tsunami. The thing's coming. It's a matter of how big it's going to be, but the reality it's coming. So we've got to prepare ourselves now.
A real challenge for
The government's
policymakers.
done a good job, though, I think, in where we're at now. And I think when that Band-Aid finally comes off, this is where the decisions have to be made and how we keep things afloat.
Okay, we've got to move on. There aren't many better people to ask about what to do in the face of a financial crisis than Australia's richest woman. We approached mining billionaire Gina Rinehart for her thoughts on how best to steer the country out of the COVID recession.